Always think big of yourself. No matter what situation takes place in life, make sure that you think big of yourself. And anything you do, make sure you do it big. When you walk into the room, make sure you understand and understand that you make the room the room. So set your intent to project a high level of energy in order to bring the frequency that you want to experience. It's all about the frequency that you want to experience. Because you can pull in that experience by you projecting that energy. Because it's all about the energy. And the energy is either going to reflect love or fear. It's either going to reflect high energy or low energy. Or the energy is going to reflect positivity or negativity, or creativity, or stuff that's mundane. But it's all about bringing a creative spark and understanding that you make the spark the spark. Every day you wake up, you decide what makes the greatest moment in your life the greatest moment. And if it's not, it's only because you decided that it's not. But every moment is special. Every moment is special when you understand that you're special. Because when you're special, everything else that takes place in your reality is going to reflect how you perceive you. Because you perceive yourself from a positive point of view. So you think big of yourself and not small of yourself. And that's something that every person should embody and should embrace. Most people think small of themselves, even if the world around them think big of them. So don't think small of yourself. And that's a key message for me that I want to bring to the planet, that I choose to bring to the planet, because you have to understand and understand that when every person is born, they're born with something special, with something that makes them different. So it's all about understanding what makes you special and what makes you different, so you can bring that energy to every moment, so you can bring that frequency. It's all about you bringing the reality that you want to experience. But you must bring that energy. You must bring that frequency. You must consciously set your intent and bring that frequency, so you can keep sending out the energy that's pulling in magical spiritual signs and rare synchronistic moments. Because every time you consciously set your intent and focus towards positivity, you're always attracting harmonious, high vibrational experiences, to the point that you have spiritual messages, you have spiritual signs. You're at a certain place at a certain time for a certain reason. So even if you go outside, for example, you have to understand that you can go outside and somebody else across the street or down the street, they can be leaving out the crib at the same time as you. So certain people are riding a certain wave. They're riding a certain frequency. Everything is frequency. It's just like I'm sitting right here and I can look out the window, and every person I see that walk past is a reflection of something spiritual or something teaching me. You see everything for a reason. You must strive to see things with a spiritual eye, from a spiritual point of view. It's a spiritual way of thinking, and then it's a human way of thinking. But it's all about whether or not you're choosing to think beyond the human ego or perception or false identity or perception of self. Because the human experience is something that we identify with. We identify as being bodies, humans, peoples, but we're spirits within the body, so we're not actually the body. Like even in science shows that your thoughts, your energy is electromagnetic, and your thoughts happen or they take place outside of you. Even though it's taking place simultaneously within you, it generates electromagnetic energy field around you. So you can feel a person's energy without even touching them because they're not the person, they're the energy. So your energy will always supersede the flesh. That's why everything that you see is always being dominated by an invisible force or the unseen force or the unseen realm. Everything is dimension. Everything is all about frequency. You have different dimensions. You wake up on different days and different parts of you are activated. So you have to know how to consciously set your intent and activate different aspects of your personality in order to present a higher version of yourself to the world. But it's based upon you and what you believe to be true about yourself. Every day you must seek clarity. It's all about whether or not you have clarity. And the more and more you have clarity, the more and more confidence you can have. Because when you lack clarity, you lack confidence. And that's why people doubt. They doubt what they already know because they lack clarity. So the more and more clarity you have, the more and more you trust. And the more and more you trust, the more and more you're one with God or the higher force or the universe. And the more and more you're one with the universe, the more and more you can pull in a reality that you want to pull in. Now, all realities exist in the universal conscious or the quantum field or the AKA the Akashic records. So all possibilities exist. Everything that's able to be done is done because it's meant, or it's possible because it's meant to be explored. Or so in other words, let me put it this way. Everything in the universe is made of multiple different infinite frequencies. And you have to understand that if you go out of space, you have to understand there's no limitation. You can go out of space and never stop. And if you can keep going forever, understand that you'll keep going forever. And even if you keep going out of space and you hit a wall or a ceiling or a bubble, you have to understand that even if it's a bubble, it has to be an outside if it's an inside. And if it's an outside and that outside has an inside too, then even that outside has to have even that inside has to have an outside. So in other words, what's infinite or energy or existence is something that's infinite. Frequencies are infinite. Our everyday reality, the possibilities are infinite. If you believe like my day is gonna be like yesterday, or if you feel like your life is similar towards yesterday, it's because you bringing the past into the present, but it's also because you're believing everything that you think. And when you believe everything you think, you associate because thoughts are memories. So thoughts that we have, a lot of thoughts that we have are repetitive, or they're the same thoughts as past thoughts. And that can be a good thing or a bad thing. You know, that can work to your advantage if it's positive. It can work to your disadvantage if it's negative. But thoughts are memories. So you can relive negative memories or positive memories. Now, when a person doubts, they're reliving negative memories. And when they trust, they're reliving positive memories. So it's all about your focus of choice. It's all about your thought focus. And you can either focus towards solutions or you can focus towards problems. And that's why you have thought flexibility, which is being able to be flexible with your thinking, which is being able to be quick and being able to shift your thinking from one thought to another and not being stuck on one specific thought. So like a person with thought, a person that lacks thought control, for example, that's what you call thought unflexibility. Thought unflexibility is when a person is fixated on one specific thought. And if you're fixated on one specific thought, then you lack thought control. And when you have thought control, you can consciously bend your reality and up the frequency. And you can up the frequency by you consciously controlling your thinking, but you consciously control your thinking by studying every thought. And you must know why you have every thought about every other thought, because Your thinking is a reflection of different other thoughts. So you're always producing thoughts by producing other thoughts. So your thinking is producing thinking about that thinking. So you must study every aspect of your thinking, and the more and more you study every aspect or every detail of how you think, the more and more you can seek to find clarity of who you truly are and who you want to be in certain moments and how you want to feel and how you want to display yourself and what level of energy that you choose to bring or you want to bring. But it's based upon you. It's based upon the frequency you choose to bring into the room. When you walk into the room, you make the room the room. When you put on your shirt, you make the shirt the shirt. But it's your presence and your essence that makes everything everything. If you don't consciously control your thinking, then your unconscious automatic thinking is going to interfere with your conscious experience. So the more and more you align the thinker with the knower, or you make sure your thought focus, because you can be looking in front of you, but your thought focus can be over there. So it doesn't mean you're present just because you can see in front of you. What makes a person fully present in the moment is when a person's thought focus is in alignment with their visual focus. And that's how you make sure you're fully grounded and present in the moment. See, when you're fully present in a moment, you don't experience uncomfortability. You only experience uncomfortability only when you're resisting your emotions, you're resisting your thoughts. Your thoughts about your thoughts are negative. Then you're basically seeking to find, you're just anticipating negative. So it's like when a person worry about worrying, or you can have anxiety just thinking about even having anxiety. You can have anxiety. You know how many people in the world die just from having anxiety and stress? You can eat certain kind of food. You can eat meat, and meat will create anxiety, and you will think that it's from a situation, but it's because you're not able to control. You're not able to have chemical or homeostasis. Homeostasis is inner balance. When you have that inner balance, that's when you have more control of your emotions, and your emotions are chemical messages or hormones. So when your chemistry in your body, when it's out of balance, that's because you're eating meat, and meat in animals, they're killed, and before they're killed, they release a chemical which is fear, which is just like cortisol. And when you eat that fear, you take in that fear. The whole purpose of eating is to absorb sunlight. So the whole point of eating electric foods is because you eat something from Mother Earth. It's because the sun gave it life and brought it to life. So when you eat that, you're eating the sunlight. That's the whole purpose of eating. So you, a sun being, which is you're made with the same things that stars are made with, and the sun is just a star, and stars are made with, no, we're made with the same thing stars made with, which is hydrogen, oxygen, nitrogen, carbon, you name it. So the point is that you don't just exist in this body, you far supersede this body. Your thoughts are taking place outside of you. You can send a thought to another person, and they can call you just because they sent you a thought, and you caught their thought, and you thought about them, and then they called you, and you like, I was just thinking about you. That's because when they was dialing the number, they was sending you the thought before they even pressed call. So by the time you got the call, you had just had the thought, and then you answered the phone. But it's all based upon telepathy, or it's just your mind being able to influence the energy around you, because thoughts produce emotions, and thoughts are even more they're more powerful and more amplified when you think thoughts and you have a strong force behind it, such as your emotions. That emotion is going to amplify it and make it help it carry it out into the field or into the universal conscious. So the universal conscious is going to bring back an experience that synchronizes and reflects the energy or the vibrational signal you sent out into the field. So the more and more you consciously go out your way to generate a certain level of energy, then you can trigger positive emotions. See, like if you're in a negative state and you're feeling negative emotions, you have to understand that if you're still feeling that way, it's only because you haven't chose to utilize a solution to basically neutralize the problem. But when you make sure you have a premeditated solution, or you make sure that you go out your way to do something different or to take a risk in order to produce a better result to make you feel even better, such as you can do something like just force yourself to smile, and that can raise your frequency. You can just relive a positive past memory, and that can enhance your frequency. But people don't understand that the brain naturally dwells on negativity more than positivity. So one bad thing can take place and 10 good things can take place, and a person's brain will highlight that one bad thing over 10 good things. So in other words, what I'm saying, the brain is always trying to protect you. So self-doubt, nervousness, fear, negative thinking is your brain way of trying to keep you within your comfort zone of being passive. But that part of you that's passive and so loving is the part of you that stop you from being true and being a real you. You can never be whole unless you embrace the positive with the negative. So you have to embrace the positive with the negative in order to be true and authentic. If you're afraid to be your negative side, then you're afraid to be the true you. Then you will never fully master your energy and not have anxiety. You can have a lot of anxiety just from placing somebody else's energy above yours within your mind. You can have a lot of anxiety just from thinking about a reality that doesn't even exist but only exists in your mind. And you can be so much in your mind that you're not even present or fully present in the moment or fully present in your reality. And that can take away from you having a fully conscious experience that'll help you be more systematic and more calculated. So it's all about being consciously calculated and taking risk. You gotta flow. When anxiety, nervousness, whenever a person is having negative emotions, that's when it's tension within the muscles. You can bring the food back. That's when it's uncomfortability. That uncomfortability is because there's a resistance within the body, and there's a certain level of confusion or unsureness on what direction should the body take within. So the more and more you have clarity, for certainty, the more and more you can push forward with confidence, and you can execute, and you can basically just flow through life with a knowing. Because it's all about what you know. It's all about you moving like you know what you know. And you have to trust in what you think, and trust in what you know, and trust in how you perform, and trust in how you behave. And the more and more you trust in yourself, the more and more everything is going to keep manifesting. You're going to keep attracting blessings. You're going to keep attracting spiritual messages. You're going to keep attracting positive feedback, positive compliments. Why? Because you constantly trust in your abilities, skills, your ability to figure out solutions to problems and to see situations from many different angles, and to analyze situations and to understand it from multiple different points of views. But you being able to trust in your abilities and your geniusness and your rareness, and you being unique and rare, that's gonna make you even more in a position at the right place at the right time to have a divinely inspired spiritual experience and situation in a rare moment. Because the greatest moments is what makes you rich in moments. It's all about being rich in moments. So I'm rich in moments. Like, it's nothing like an experience. The more and more self-experience you have, the more and more self-clarity you have. So it's all about having that self-experience. And when you have a self-experience, you have to embrace your experience of self. Your experience of self reflects you bringing your past into your present, but the positive. Don't bring the negative into your present. Because many people can wake up and they can feel the same and they can be living out the same emotions as yesterday because they brought yesterday into today. They brought their past emotions into the present, so they living out the past emotions into the present. Like, do you understand that you can get hurt one time and you can relive that moment for the next 20 years of your life? You can get hurt one time and you can relive that moment for the next 20, 30, 40 years of your life. If you don't break the pattern, if you don't change your habits, if you don't consciously control your reality, if you don't consciously master your reality, then you can live that one experience repeatedly for 20 years, for 30 years, all just because you didn't consciously control your reality or your frequency. It's all about being consciously calculated so you can make sure that you can bring the memories from the past that you want to bring back, because you don't want to bring negativity or low vibrational energy from the past into the present. You want to bring high vibrational energy from the past into the present. And you want to remind yourself consistently of the moments in the past that reflects you thinking big of yourself or you expressing yourself on a big level. Many intellectuals, I'm going to put it this way, they have the skill but lack the confidence, or they think small of themselves and other people think big of them. And you should really think big of yourself regardless if people think small of you. It's not about what other people think. It's all about you validating yourself. Destroy your reputation. Destroy your reputation. Stop trying to be a certain you for the world. Stop trying to be a certain you for the world around you. Don't attempt to be a certain version of you for other people. You can be you for others, or you can be the you that you want to be for you, but you can be the you that others want you to be, and you're not necessarily fully being your true authentic self. You're being your authentic fake self in that sense. But you can come around people, and when you come around people, you want to have a consistent version of you that you bring around every other person. You don't want to be inconsistent and come around many different people and bring many different people or many different parts of you. You don't want to switch up and be inconsistent and be many different characters and many different vibrational aspects of yourself, because we all exist on multiple different frequencies and vibrational levels. It's all about the frequency. The more and more you choose to elevate your frequency by choosing to only narrow your focus towards positivity, every thought that you because it's all about being meticulous, being detailed, word for word, thought for thought. You have to know the sayings or the thoughts, the sentences or whatever that you want to replay within your mind, your psyche, and you have to utilize it as a solution-based response. And when you utilize this as a solution-based response, what you do is every time you have a certain thought or negative emotion, you remind yourself of that saying. And that saying or that word or whatever is the program, and it's to override that negative thinking. So every time you think a negative thought, it triggers and activates many different other positive thoughts, just because you didn't set your intent to shift your focus and to allow everything that holds you back to push you forward. So you can choose to allow things to hold you back, or you can choose to allow things to push you forward, but it's up to you. And you can elevate your frequency by buying my book. My book is Never Belittle Your Greatness. But it's never mind. I'm going to just put it this way. Every moment is something that's spiritual. And when you seek to find a spiritual message that's meant to speak to your spirit and speak to your heart in certain situations that you attract, then you understand that life is given a highlight attention on your reality, and life is speaking to you, and life is showing you something unique, and life is showing you something different that's trying to open your brain into different dimensions, into higher frequencies, so that you can pull in even more higher results in a higher reality that you want to pull in. But it's all based upon you tuning into everything that's going to put you a step further. How much do you study yourself all throughout the day? How much do you learn or think about what you're thinking about all throughout the day? How much do you strive to do everything with a certain rhythm or a certain pace or a certain flow all throughout the day? How much are you intentional? And the more and more you're intentional, the more and more you can create the things that you want to create. It's all about you being able to, it's all about you seeing that you have the ability first to consciously create the reality that you want to create. But if you can visualize a negative outcome, and when you visualize what you expect or anticipate that's not going to work out in your favor in the future, in a few days, or when a situation coming up or whatever, that's when you're going to make an image, which is waves, which you may collapse and transform into a physical reality based upon your conscious focus. And your conscious focus determines what reality or what dimension or what signal or frequency you tune into. So it's just like a radio. Radio, you turn up the frequency. You up the frequency or you lower the frequency. And if you lower the frequency and you choose to see a low frequency or a low vibrational reality, then you're going to pull in and only see that reality. You can see yourself from a low vibrational reality. If you grew up around low vibrational people, you can have a deeply embedded subconscious program to think small of yourself, even though you big, even though you great. You may not even give yourself that much credit because you have, or I know for sure I got it's what you call an inaccurate perception of self. You can have an inaccurate perception of yourself. And that inaccurate perception of yourself can come from not fully seeing yourself for who you truly are. And the more and more you strive to see yourself for who you truly are, the more and more you can gain more clarity. The more and more you gain more clarity, the more and more you're 3, 4, 5 steps ahead, and not 3, 4, 5 steps behind. But it's all about being confident. But that confidence can only come from clarity, and that clarity can only come from you being studious and studying your thinking about your thinking. And when you study every thought and you make sure that you redirect your thinking and guide your thinking towards the reality or the vibrational frequency or vibrational reality that you want to tune into, then you can hold your frequency and your energy towards that one aim. And that's when you consciously control your thinking. But when you have thought, what they call thought unflexibility, that's when you're fixated on one negative thought and you're constantly dwelling on that thought, and it's hard to basically shift your focus away from that thought. And that's thought unflexibility. But thought flexibility is the opposite. It's being able to be, free flowing and shifting at will. So you want to be able to consciously control your thinking. And every time you think a negative thought, you want to think 4, 5, 6 positive thoughts. You want to overwhelm your brain with positivity in order to have a very harmonious, high vibrational reality or experience within reality. That's the only way. The only way is by creating the thoughts that you want to think all the time. If you want to think everything about your life being like this, because you can have a whole story that I've been going through this for some years. My life been like this. I always been like this. I always had this problem. But it's just a story. It's just thoughts you've been believing all throughout your life. And no one ever told you that there's a science to thinking and it's a science to life. And the science is that every thought is not you, and you shouldn't believe everything that you think because you're the one behind the thinking, listening to the thinking. You're the one observing the thinking. You're the experiencer experiencing the experience. And you're the observer observing the thinking. But you're not the thinking. So like when you associate with when you identify with the thinker, then that takes away from you understanding the true you. Because there's the knower, and then it's the thinker. There's the experiencer, and then it's the thinker.